I want to take this opportunity this morning. I want to speak into the subject from promise to manifestation. From the what? Promise to manifest. Someone say that again. From promise to manifestation. Say that with authority one more time. From promise to manifestation. Say that with authority this time like a believer. From promise to manifestation. Amen. I want to speak on the power of the blessing. The power of the blessing. So from promise to manifestation. How do the promises manifest? And this here today we want to zero in on the power of the blessing. The power of the blessing in bringing the manifestation to pass. Because without the blessing, the manifestation becomes an enigma. It becomes something people are searching for. It becomes something people are wishing for. That is why not every prayer meeting is a prayer meeting you must go and attend. Never just go to a place to pray because people are gathered to pray. That amen of yours is too scattered. Don't give an amen like a stay away. Give an amen like a believer. So everything in life has a way of working. Everything in life has a way of working. And we call that process. People say, what is the process? Oh, when you are a mechanic, it is incumbent upon you to understand how the engine works. Because if you know how it works, you are able to trace in it and go and find out why it is not working. If you are a lawyer, you want to know how is the law set concerning this. The law doesn't work the same way, by the way, for everyone. If you are white and you are in the United States, the law does not apply to you in the same way it applies to black people and immigrants. I pray someone is going to be here. So, if you are going to hire a lawyer, you want to hire someone who understands the process. I pray someone is hearing. You want to engage someone who will come and argue on your behalf based on their knowledge. You want them to say, that white person, you sentenced them to 5 years for this crime. Now you are wanting to sentence my client to 15 years. How is that possible? And lawyers will tell you that they most of the time work on something called precedent. Meaning that the same court cannot go and charge someone in a different way for exactly the same crime. Are you sure you are still here? Now, when you understand process, you are then in a place to understand how the thing works. If you can understand how it works, you are then able to either manipulate it to your benefit. So, because agronomists understood the law of germination and all, what takes place from when you plant a seed to when it grows up, they began to manipulate seed and they produced what are called genetically modified organisms. The only thing is they can't reproduce. Are you sure you're hearing? Because once you've tinkered with the process, are you still here? Once you tinker with the process is no longer the same. One of our sons came to our home Monday, and his vehicle had no water, no indicators, he had no everything. And in the afternoon before he went, I decided to check the fuses. And I Googled, couldn't find the diagram of his fuse box, because I looked at the main fuse box and I looked at the auxiliary one. And the diagrams that were there on the internet were not the same. And after wasting about 20 or so minutes, he then tells me he has the manual. So after wasting all that time, we then it was just opening and there is the diagram. So I then just went, checked it out, took out, and for sure, the fuses were bent. So he had been driving the car like that, we don't know for how many months. So I went into the house, looked, and I found fuses, but someone had bought me Hong Kong fuses. Some of you don't know what that means, but anyway, leave it like that. So eventually, I ended up bridging the fuses that he had. I pray that you are hearing. I ended up bridging them. How did I bridge? I went and I unraveled, and you know those electrical wires that have got those thin wires, and they are many, they are potted together. So I unpotted them, took one, engringered it on the fuse, and there suddenly he had his indicators, he had his hooters, and other things. And he said to me, why are you using one wire? Because the bridging, he knows, you just take any electrical wire. That one is no longer bridging. That one is called a crime. The whole function of a fuse is to protect the vehicle. The fact that the fuse bent means there is something wrong in the circuitry. If you put a thick wire that cannot get bent by itself, you are just killing the car. So I put a wire which, should there be a surcharge of power, the wire itself would cut. The reason it cuts is so that your whatever engine, whatever it is protected. Now, let me show you something. The people that do medicine here, the doctors and other people who are here, will tell you what many people don't seem to know. Pain is a fuse. When there is pain in your body, pain is a fuse that says the circuitry is not working well. What are you supposed to do? Not fight the pain. In fact, I'm just thinking about it right now, and those who do medicine, correct me after the service. There are some things you should not take painkillers for. Because when you do, you have used a thick wire to bridge the fuse. In other words, you will damage your body. Are you sure you're hearing me? Okay, so let me show you this. So you have pain on your ankle. What is that telling you? That maybe you knelt. All right? Or as they say up north, you minuked. So now, when you have got a minuk, what you're supposed to do is, say, possibly tie the leg so that the minuking can then go and settle. Are you here? Did you know that someone with a broken leg, you can give them pethidine and they don't feel the pain and they can walk with a broken leg? But what will happen? They will break it more. Who am I speaking to? The call is stay away. Now you are quiet. Like stay away. If you are sitting next to a stay away, just good them. We are not in a stay away, we're in church. So process is the way a thing was designed to work. Are you still here? When you are a farmer, you ought to know this kind of seed. Like right now, this is way beyond planting season. According to the previous times, not according to the new climatic patterns. Who am I speaking to? Auntie? Sonke singopon logishin in. if you have a cow, for you to have a calf, you must either do artificial insemination or you must get a bull. Laying hands on it is not going to help. Are you sure you're getting? Now, so the process is the understanding of the way it works. Process has to submit to principle. So, first process, then principle. What is the principle? The principle is that if my cow is going to have a calf, there must be the fertilization of the egg in it by a male egg. For there to be germination, there are particular conditions that must be for that germination to be there. If you just take seed, drop it into the ground, come back next year for the harvest, you will find zero harvest. But you'll find very fat birds around. The birds understood the principle better than you. Are you sure you are there? What do our grannies who understand the process and the principle do? After they plant the maize, they go put a stick in the field which has a cross and then make it wear an overall and standing like this here. And when the birds come to steal the seed, they think Tube is in the field. Is it not amazing that they never put women's clothes on the scarecrows? I don't know, maybe some of you have seen scarecrows with women's clothes. I've never seen them. I've always seen they put men's clothes on them. When you violate the principle, you postpone the manifestation. Are you still here? So understand, so first of all, I must understand the process. Then I must be acquainted with the principle. And principle number 3 requires understanding. Any misunderstood principle will cause damage. That's the bridging. Remember I was talking about? You went and bridged with this thick wire that the secretary cannot bend. And because the secretary could not bend the fuse, therefore it bent the gadget. Is that making sense? Because it could. Now, some of you know we use 2 types of plugs in this country. Other countries only use 1 plug. When you're in South Africa, only 1 plug. The round one. When you are in the United States, there's the 2-pin. The 3-pin is just a version or a variation of the 2-pin. Are you still here? I don't like the quietness. It's too quiet here for me. All right, now. But in Zimbabwe, we have both the square plug and we have the round plug. The round plug uses 15 amps. The square one uses 13 amps. You will never find the round plug with a fuse. But the 13 amps always has a fuse. Are you still here? The round plug is more inclined to burn your appliance because it doesn't have a fuse. Tell them to be physics. Electronics. I'm trying to explain a principle here. What you don't understand, you forfeit. If you don't understand a particular thing, what you do is what? Forfeiture. You didn't understand it, therefore you forfeit it. Watch. I was talking to someone, reminded me of many years back when I used to travel to Asia. Singapore has a no tolerance for drugs and terrorism. You bring drugs to Singapore, death sentence. There is no, your father can go and appeal. They will still chop your head off. You getting this? And this our son was talking to me. The days I used to travel, they never used to do that. But you say, these days when you are flying into Singapore, the pilots themselves actually give you, ladies and gentlemen, we are now begun our descent, and we expect to be landing at Changi Airport in about the next 30 minutes. Weather conditions in Singapore are mild, lovely easterly wind flow. As if you know where the east is when you are in the aeroplane. Lovely easterly wind blowing into Singapore. It's going to be a beautiful day, and thank you again for flying Cathay Pacific, and we hope that you then do fly with us again. Thank you very much, and have a good day. And all pilots talk the same. All flight attendants talk the same. It doesn't matter what language they are. When you are on Ethiopian Airways, muchachin, muchachin. But they could have taken Ntombigai Setube from Buluwayo, made they say that the voices are all the same. Watch this. But he says now when you are flying into Singapore, the pilot tells you, please, if you have any drugs, leave them in the aeroplane. Because there is no court of appeal for drugs in Singapore. Understanding is what saves you. Watch. Wawangeni sama drugs in Australia. In Australia, they will charge you and jail you. Ejele pela kuyaphunyu. Ethuneni kakuphunyu. Last time I can't remember, I was reading an article. There were 19 Zimbabweans in China awaiting execution, waiting to die. Understanding? Are you still here? So understanding, we have spoken about this when discussing the book of Proverbs, is a function of what? Knowledge. Are you sure you're still here? Knowledge creates expectation. You can't expect something you know nothing about. What you don't know, you cannot expect. Now, our lawnmower developed a problem. So, someone came, looked at the lawnmower, said we need 3 kgs of 0.63 millimeter wire. We need a capacitor, and then, I can fix the lawnmower. Knowledge say to me, don't be too fast. Find out the price first. Don't ask your son to buy them. So I say to Pastor Josh, can you find me these things? But don't buy them if they are above 500 rand. He phoned me last night. The wire for rewiring is a 460 rand a kg, and we need 3 kgs. The capacitor he had not found. I would suspect it would be between 3 to 500 rand. Then Malaysia has to be paid. My calculation is when these things now, which are now about just over 2,000 rand, are handed over to the fixer. If you negotiate well, $70 will be his price. You still here? $70 is just under 1,000 rand. So you use 3,000 rand to fix a lawnmower you bought for 1,800. So I just went to the internet and I checked. I found several lawnmowers. I found one for 1.2. I found another one for 1.8, others for 1.3. And I said to my son, just go buy us 2 second-hand lawnmowers. The cost of buying the 2 lawnmowers is cheaper than the cost of repairing one. Knowledge. Are you sure you're still here? So the reason many times we are scattered is not the absence of resources, but the absence of knowledge. You still here? Okay. How many of you have got a house where you would like to come back in the evening and you have areas where it would be nice to get there and there is lawn all over the place? Okay, 2. Antala nditshela. Asithengeni izindlu bathandakazi. Akuvamanga ukuthi umuntu ufuna ukubona indlu inhle wena ulotsha. Look at your neighbor, say, my neighbor. Pants lokulotsha. Ungambone ngela excitement, lay hands on them. Tell them, Puma Satan. Ngabona umuntu ongajayeli ongajabuleli ukuthi kona only property. Hayi. The blessing of Abraham promises you 2 things. Property and offspring. In fact, not even property, but land. And offspring. Are you sure you're here? Look at the person sitting next to you. Say, I see you owning land. Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12 verse 1. Now the Lord has said to Abraham, get out of your country, from your kind, from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I don't have time right now to talk about it. The reason why too many people have never been able to hear when the word is spoken is because they are always sitting to someone, next to someone. Jehovah said to Abraham, get out of your land, get away from your relatives, get away from the... Why? Because they produce familiarity. You are sitting next to, or you live with someone who's made you comfortable in your poverty. Are you sure you're hearing me? Some of us have got friends, education, there are 2 types of education: formal education and informal education. But they are sharp here. Is that making sense? Japhet Mpofu wasn't running hotels because he was stupid. He didn't have much of an education, but he knows how to run money. When I went to accounts and economics, awula lokalako. That means he knows something you don't know. And I will bless them who bless you, and curse them who curses you. And in you shall all families of the earth be blessed. And Bible says, and so Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken unto him. And Abraham was 75 years old. Ask your neighbor, how old are you? Yeah, get the answer. Don't just say, how old are you? You get the answer. Abraham was 75. Watch. 75. If the person who answered you is their age is below 37 and a half, tell them you haven't even begun. Abraham was 75 when Jehovah spoke to him. Colonel Sanders of Kunakafanika Chicken was 65 When KFC started. When you are just looking to be married by anyone. 37 and a half, you haven't started. Why? You haven't even gotten to half Abraham's age. Is that making sense? So, abanyo kulu labo koko lapa, selfun shine on your age. I can't worship because I'm 73 years old. Abraham 75. 73 usufuna uqasa ukubhenda. Ayikhona. You think Abraham was bent at 75 when he was going to Egypt? Kwakungela transport phela kulezana nsuku. He wasn't riding on a donkey, he was walking. It'd be very interesting to hear who didn't go to church today because there was no transport. The person hasn't been affected by revelation yet. Question. When was Abraham blessed? You with me? When was he blessed? Before God spoke to him or after God spoke to him? Right? You still here? At which stage was he blessed? Before or after? Don't stress. Just listen kuphela and record. Bona abantu laba, you can hear brains grinding. Abala mahama mil brains uponguza. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. And God said, let us make men in our own image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Are you still here? So God created men in his own image, in the image of God. He created them male and female. Go back again, verse 27. So God created men, not Adam. Are you still here? In his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Is this making sense? So was the blessing on Adam or on creation? So manje mina nisele ngaphi? Why do I have to pay the prophet to be blessed? Are you sure you're getting this? Because if we understand the process, because we understand the principle, because we have understanding, because we have knowledge, you will know the truth. The truth will make you free. Knowledge. Knowledge is what gives you understanding. Understanding teaches you principle. Principle is how you understand process. Sakwana yini. And God, verse 28, blessed them, not him. That's why when you have a man who doesn't understand this, is going to influence me. You may be right in Junior. You divorce a woman who goes with the blessing. Someone I know has got about 14 children from about, I think it's 9 different wives. And this person has been in the church since childhood. Not church as in religion, as in tongue talking. The previous from last wife he had, after him buluzeled her and left her, she is now a multi-millionaire. The boss she was working for took her because said, you are very intelligent. Go and register for BEE. So she registered for BEE. And now she's a director. She didn't put a cent. What this way is kumba kuphela. Kujangereza. And now this man, too late. So there is a process we ought to understand. Shout, I am here today. Process I want us to understand, number 1, promise. Remember we went through 4 stages that I wanted you to identify. Process, principle, understanding, knowledge. Knowledge, understanding, principle, process. Am I getting too technical? Sure. Lato grade 7 is now sis. Okay. Ukujova wenza ngoba umuthi mina ngingafundi kakhulu. Abangikhwitha umfundo aliba lingazwisisi. Nigis. So you need to look at your neighbor right now. Say, Jehovah knows well. Thank God for an uneducated pastor. That's not an insult. Some of you didn't finish. You sure you're still here? Yes. She's about a completed MBA. What is yours? In what? A first degree in nursing. What is yours? A diploma in nursing. Maimzilla? You degree, which one? What degree is it? In psychotherapy. What's yours? Degree in sport and recreation. What degree are you doing? Banking and investment management. What is your degree? Accounts. Accounting. How many of you have a diploma here? Raise your hands. 3. Okay, put down. How many of you have a first degree? How many of you have done postgraduate studies? Either you have a master's, you have a PhD or something. All right. How many of you are working towards a degree? You are in school or something, you're working? Raise up your hands. Then abanye bonke bafana lo Phiri. So you are in good company. When you find you can't understand what I'm preaching, looks of fun to hear. Ngoba thina wobulawe lapha sikukwanisi thina. So all these kwitamfundos. So when you have academic questions to ask, you go to them. All right? When you have spiritual questions to ask, you come to me. Are you still here? Look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor, thank God we are like the pastor. So here is a process I want us to then understand. Because if we can understand the process, we can work it backwards or we can run it forward. Okay? Watch. I see the process and I study the process to understand the principle. When I understand the principle, immediately I have what? Understanding. And understanding is because now I have what? Knowledge. Is that making sense? Or you can start from the front. I seek knowledge. It gives me understanding, which makes me understand the principle, which makes me understand the process. Now, your bush mechanic did not go front to forward. Your bush mechanics goes forward to backwards. Your response is wrong, oh man. It's wrong on their response. You understanding this? Many of you, your stoves and the fridges and are fixed by someone who learned the backward process. Is that making sense? So, there are 4 things we need to understand from here. Number 1, promise. Number 2, blessing. Number 3, activation. And number 4, manifestation. What are we talking about today? From blessing to manifestation. Are you still here? From what? Blessing to manifestation. So when I don't see the evidence of manifestation in my life, that means I'm stuck somewhere in the process. Is that making sense? To live here going to South Africa and you settle in Messina, you didn't get to South Africa. And you may just be on the other side of the bridge. Some of you, you've been sensing you just on the inside. You no man. In the zokala ngani ngiyeqise 1 nyawo kuphela but olinye lusele ngale. Something tells you. Something on the inside says, no man, I can smell it. Only thing is I can't see it. You sure it's making sense? I was laughing at a group of our sons. I passed by, they were gathered together illegally, in a group. These days you don't gather as a group unnecessarily. So I went to find out what was going on and they were busy discussing and blah, 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 blah. Then one of them says, he went to the butchery. There were more people than there was meat. How much was the meat? The meat was what? $8.99, I think you said it. $8.99 was the cheap meat. $8.99 a kg. So a friend of theirs said, no, let me phone my uncle. He's got a butchery. His was about double. So I did quick mathematics for them. The one that was $8 was the cheapest. What was super selling it? I was on with a value. What was? Ngena ko heads and hooves. Ungabona unxa ungena ko heads and hooves uthi 10 left. Uthi ungasikho naye. Kule nkinga sibile emangalisayo. Some of us, if we enter 10 left, the security guard just stops you. Hey, I'm from this. Cancel again. Watch. So I did quick mathematics for them. In December, I don't know now, the butchery at Zonke Zizwe, the super was $29.99 for a kg. These my sons here, I offered them super. At $3 a kg, they refused. I won't tell you that the Shona say kashaveke urombe because some people might get offended. So I won't say. Watch. If you don't understand, when you have no you go and repair one lawnmower for the price of 2 used ones. Then you come to church, kneel down and ask God for divine provision. I think I've got your attention now. Are you sure? Yes. All right. So number 1, what we want to understand is the promise. Number 2 is the blessing. Number 3 is the number 4 is the because life does not start with the blessing. It starts with the promise. Where is the promise? Genesis chapter 1 verse 28. That is the promise Jehovah gave to mankind. Are you sure you're getting this? Black people have a habit of always looking down upon themselves. Those of you who have time, leave here this afternoon, drive towards Kami prison and just look for a sign that says Kami ruins. And go and see architectural ingenuity. Then leave here, go to Mashingo. Leave here, go to Mchabezi Dam. Around Mchabezi Dam, go and see the artwork and the pottery that was produced over 100 years ago. We love to celebrate everyone by ourselves. It's getting quiet. Until you recognize that God's blessing was not on whites. God's blessing was on mankind. Did you know that 2016, the highest paid doctor in the United States was a black man? A Nigerian. Highest paid doctor. No excuses. Why? Because the blessing of Abraham is not for Jews. He said, in you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Take your seats. Let's go. Come with me. Let me show you this. So what is the promise? The promise is what Jehovah has ordained for me. Watch. So what is God's promise concerning wealth? What is God's promise concerning health? What is God's promise concerning marriage? What is God's promise concerning my brain? What is God's promise concerning whatever you put the area or the category? That's your job. Then go and find out, what did God say to me, not to us? Are you sure you're getting this? Number 2, blessing. What is blessing? The empowerment for manifestation. Literally, that's what blessing is. Empowerment for manifestation. Watch this. The gonyet is blessed to carry heavy. The gonyet is not blessed for speed. It's blessed for power. Is that making sense? What size engine is in the Capstars? 3.4. So those trucks we bought have the same size engine as my little red sports car. What is the difference? That one is blessed for speed. It is not blessed for carrying. Are you sure you're getting this? Same engine, but different purpose. Hey, who am I speaking to? Number 3, activation. Activation is how you receive the promise by faith. Someone shout, by faith. How you receive the promise, how? How you receive the promise, how? You can't receive the promise outside of faith. Number 4, the manifestation. Manifestation is the incarnation of the promise or the coming to flesh of the promise. So, Jacob blessed, rather Isaac blessed Jacob and said, you will not marry of the children of the land. What did Isaac do? He didn't fight with his father. He went and married from Laban, his uncle. Are you still here? The promise was incarnated. It means it became flesh. When Esau heard that the father had said to the son, you will not marry from the children of his land, he went and married from the children of the land to spite his father. We don't hear about Esau. He is the father of the Edomites. You still here? Let's look at one person for today, then we're done. We'll look at maybe we might be able to do 2. I wanted to do 4, but Genesis chapter 1. Adam, or Odom, as is the correct pronunciation. Odom. And God blessed them. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. And God said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, have dominion over the people. Have dominion over the people. Have dominion over the people. You saw this week what happens when dominion is exercised over people. We were not meant to exercise dominion over people. Are you getting this? He said, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed. Now, watch. He gives him the promise. Are you still here? And then he releases the blessing. When he says have dominion, he is not saying go and toil for dominion. He is saying take dominion. Are you sure this is making sense? Isn't it amazing? Many of us have never really bothered to look at this. Did you know that when people are poor, they look ugly? Suddenly, when they have money, did they change? Are you sure you're getting this? You know, the sister is just struggling and battling, and people are not looking at her. Then she goes and gets a Peruvian and a Brazilian and a Chilean. She starts eating well. Her skin begins to gleam a little bit. She changes her wardrobe. And suddenly people are noticing her. Did she change? What changed? Her appearance never changed. Her circumstances, her resources changed. Are you sure you're getting this? So now when you understand process, principle, understand, what you do is you breach the system. No employer wants to employ you for charitable purposes. If they are looking for a receptionist, they are not going to employ you because they are a member of the church when you are to Vega, and all. No, they are not looking for a case of charity. When you enter that interview, look, $1 million. Take your seats. Let me show you something. When you enter that place, enter it. Let the owner of the business think, my baba umuntu ngamkuta. What salary did we say we would give this person? 800. No, give this one 1.2. Because if I give 800 and someone gives a little bit more, we'll lose it. Why? So, stop praying for a life partner. Sometimes you are looking correct on the inside, but you are wrong on the inside. When people talk to you, they feel like they are toiling. You're a type that just passes by people, don't even talk to them, just go. Breach the system. If you are at work and you are the least qualified, the others are more qualified, work better than all of them. It's getting quiet. Breach the system. Is that making sense? Are you sure you're getting this? Do what? Someone needs right now, just raise up your right hand. Speak to the Lord for a moment. Just say, Father, give me the insight and the wisdom. Let me see how to breach the system. Ask the Lord. This lady was sitting with her back towards me. Please, you guys have been seeing that. Amen. Take your seats for a moment. Watch. To every priest of the earth, every fowl of the air, and God saw that everything he had made was good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Chapter 2, verse 15. And God took the man, put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And God commanded the man, saying, of every tree. You hear? Of every tree of the garden, you may do what? Freely. But of the tree of the knowledge of? Talk to me. So there is certain knowledge I don't need. Is that making sense? Watch. Verse 18, and the Lord said, it is not good that the man should be. So marriage wasn't your idea. If it wasn't your idea, the only way you prosper in it is by following God's principle for it. What is that principle? Husbands, tangamthengela imoto. Ndimene kuchita shupi ya muntu. Apira amati muntu alibe njero. Saganiza. Alibe mutu. That means he has no head. He was built to the shoulders. Is that making sense? Yes. Let's continue. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast. Hello? And every fowl of the air, and he gave them to, and he said, sorry? Why didn't God call them himself? Why didn't God call them himself? Because he had given Adam. They now belong to. Are you sure you're getting this? No one came and told a developed person who saw a duck what the data. For many of us who think everything you have, you were taught by white people. There is no data anywhere in Europe. The Shona people were too lazy. I duckies. They were caught on a day after the stay away. They were too late. I duckies. Why? He heard the white person say, that's a duck. I duckies. The developed person came fresh. I used to drive to South Africa, and when you are passing through Makado, on your way to South Africa, you see all these signs, kuhu. Can't remember what the other words would be, but kuhu. I thought these people are stupid. They can't spell huku. That's what, I think, isn't it the vendor or whoever lives around that area? That's what chickens are called, kuhu. That's how you see that all of us are related.
That's right. Yeah.
The Shona people say huku, the other people say kuhu, the Ndebele said nkuku. Yeah, it's okay. That's. Adam gave names to all cattle. All. Look at what one on Lingun. When you are too ugly, Brahman. And to every beast of the field, but for Adam there was not found a helper suitable for him. What about Abraham? Okay, before I go to Abraham, did you see Adam? Yes. Blessing? Promise? Or rather, promise? Blessing? How did Adam activate the blessing? By naming. The Bible says God put him in the garden and he said, tend it. Did he tend it? Yeah. How does the blessing come, or how is activation done? Shout it louder, you are smart. I didn't hear you. Did you know that you can go to an ATM and come back without money, with a card and there is money in the ATM, but you are still broke? Why? You were not obedient. What is obedience in an ATM? You have to understand the process. What is the process? You deposit money in order to undeposit it. Who am I speaking to here? When you understand the principle now, you don't get to an ATM without electricity and still try to take money out. Because you understand the principle. Are you still here? So, promise. Talk to me, someone. Blessing. And did it manifest for Adam? Yes. But watch. Only for a limited time. What did he then go and do? He went and violated the principle. You will not eat. And Eve said, you can eat. Are you sure you are hearing? Every voice in your life that contradicts Jehovah. It doesn't matter who opened and spoke. They are inspired by Satan. Let's look at Abraham quickly and then we're done. Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12, verse 2. Genesis chapter 12, verse 2. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. What is that? It's a what? Let's continue. And I will bless them that, and I will curse him who curses. And in you shall all the families of the earth be. What is that? Sorry? 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 I'm hearing two voices. 1 plus 1 can't be 3 and 4. What is that? It's a promise. It's not a blessing. If I say I'm going to bless you, have I blessed you? My mukuraska papa one room. Let's continue. So Abraham departed. What was happening now? I didn't hear you. Say it again. Departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him, and Abraham was 75 years old. What does the Bible say? Genesis chapter 12, verse 7. And the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said, unto your seed I will give this land. Wait now. What is this now? It's a what? It's a promise. It's not a blessing. You sure you're still here? Yes. We must be very clear. What is there? And what is there? The promise is what Jehovah wishes for us. The blessing is the definition, is defining. In chapter 12 verse 2, he said, I will bless you. Didn't say I will give you land. Now he is defining the promise. Okay, watch. If I say, come home this afternoon, I want to bless you. What am I going to do for you? What am I going to do for you? Yeah, but what is it? If you are leaving home and your father says, where are you going to? What do you answer? You don't even know how to answer. What do you say? Where are you going to? I'm going to the pastor's house. Because you know, what are they stressing about? What are you going to do? Sorry? And then the father says, what is it? That's the answer. Because I didn't tell you, when I say I am going to bless you, and when I say I am going to give you a car, they're not the same. But watch. You ask me, what would I rather have between a blessing and a car? A blessing. Because you can give me a car without blessing me. The guy who paid you a bribe was not blessing you. They were cursing you. Because whatever was never yours must go back to where it came from. It may be in this generation or it could be in the next. It will have to go back. But every wealth created by occultic means must scatter and go back to where it came from. It's only the blessing of the Lord that doth make you rich. And with it he adds no toil. Are you still here? Let's go. Let's go. So, he said, unto your seed I will give this land. When Abraham left Paddan Aram, he didn't know what the blessing was. All he knew is Jehovah will make my name great. And through me shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Abraham, what does it really mean? Well, I'll find out. Thank God for his word.
Amen.
Abraham didn't have the word. You and me have the word. Is that making sense? The Lord said to Abraham, verse 14, chapter 13, verse 14. Genesis 13, and the Lord said to Abraham, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up your eyes, look from the place where you are, north, south, east, and west. For all the land you see, to you I will give it, and to your seed forever. Watch. 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 Was Lot Abraham's seed? Sorry? Sorry? Good. And Abraham said to Lot, choose the land you want. And Lot chose land. After Lot had chosen land, God said to Abraham, all this land, including Ulot where lodge. The land does not belong to him. Why Ulot wa lodge? Because he was stupid enough at the beginning of chapter 13 to start fighting with Abraham. Hey, who are we speaking to here? Last week was this wonderful story. This white couple in South Africa bought their maid a suburban 3-bedroomed house. Is she part of their seed? No. It's called blessing by association. That is why to have a maid who, when people look at, when they arrive at your house, say, long maid. It's evidence of the absence of blessing on your own head. How do they identify? Babone ngejwabu lakhe uthi vele ivaseline uyicine independence. Nxa ulo maid obuye vele ekhaya shaya perfume zobulongwe elefika lapha uthathe nike isepa, nike amalotion, nike lani, nike izigqoko. Engathumela iselfie bathumela imessage bakuthi kona ngubani yenalo. Why? The blessing has landed upon my life. A person cannot be blessed and still be the same. Are you sure you are seeing this? So he says to Abraham, arise, verse 17, walk through the land, the length and the breadth of it. To you and your seed, I will give it. Are you seeing that? Yes. Chapter 15, verse 4. Behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, this will not be your heir, but he who shall come forth out of your own bowels shall be your heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven. Tell the stars, if you are able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall your seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he accounted to him for a righteousness. Wait. Stop writing. Let me show you something quickly. You hearing? Yes. Let me show you something that's absolutely amazing. God gave Abraham land. And Abraham never saw any title deeds to the day he died. God gave Abraham 2 promises: land and children. The third promise was confirming that in blessing I will bless you, and in multiplying, in other words, he was multiplying those things that he had already promised him. God never promised Abraham sheep, cattle, gold, silver. Why? They are the manifestation. Are you sure you're getting this? If you want to see the manifestation of this, go and build places like parts of Mahachula and not provide people a sewer system. There are bushes in Mahachula you can't walk through. Why? Because if there are people, there must be manifestation. Are you sure this is making sense? India delayed in teaching people the use of toilets. In Hyderabad, they built thousands of toilets. Indians prefer the bush. You have never met someone who said they were going for holiday to an Indian beach, and India has lots of coastline. Why? Because all along the beach, abantu baqhuthile. Is that making sense? Yes. When the people who were developing our city were building it, they were bit scope donor. Why? The only toilets were at the city hall. Then a cotin. So what did people do? Use the alleyways. The reason why alleyways started getting blocked, people applying to city council and putting gates, was because of the manifestation. Are you sure you are still here? You think I manifest only when I buy?